So thank you everyone for joining the session. This is called Learn More Europe with a focus on North meets South. So you're very welcome, even if it's online. My name is Manon Tissier, and I am the International Mobility Officer in UCD Global. And I look after students going on exchange within Europe. So I'll just give you an overview of the exchange options available for Spanish, Italian, and some English language options. And then we'll have testimonials from some of the students who went on exchange last year. So I thought I would just start by kind of giving you an overview of what an Erasmus exchange is. So an Erasmus exchange, there's an agreement between two universities on a non-fee basis. So that means that you pay your tuition fee to UCD and it is waived at the host university. Erasmus is specifically within Europe, and there is funding available from the European Commission, and approximately 500 UCD students go on Erasmus each year. So we'll just jump right in. I wanted to give you an overview of what your options are if you're interested in studying through Spanish. So the Mediterranean lifestyle in Spain will probably appeal to you, but it's not all sun and beach. So if you're interested, for example, in studying to Barcelona, you could go to the Universitat de Barcelona to study economics or geography. Universitat Autónoma de Barcelona will also be an option if you're studying English. The Universitat Pompeu Fabra would be an option if you're studying politics, and I think we can all agree that Catalonia is definitely an interesting place to study politics. And if you're more interested in going to the north of Spain, you could go to Bilbao, to the Universidad del País Vasco, if you study sociology. And if you were interested in going to the capital, to Madrid, you could go to the Universidad Pontificia Comillas if you study psychology, Universidad Autónoma if you studied art history, or the Universidad Politécnica if you're all studying architecture, sorry. If you're an economics student, Valencia is an option, and it's also an option if you study languages or philosophy. Language students, so students who are studying Spanish, can also go to the University of Salamanca, and it's actually the oldest university in Spain. And finally, if you're more interested in going to the south of Spain, that would be an option for language students through the University of Granada, or history students can go to the University of Sevilla. So why would you study in Spain? I guess the first thing is it's a great option to learn or to improve your language skills. If you go to Spain, the language will not be English. And whether it is in Spanish, Catalan, or any regional language, you will really have to immerse. So it's a great experience to be exposed to a different language in your daily life. And we have a vast range of partners throughout the country, so loads of partner options from north to south. It's a safe country with high living standards and a really nice lifestyle. And Spain has a huge depth of history. It's a really interesting country. In terms of cultural diversity, it is still in Europe, but it's a very different culture. And in Spain, you're actually exposed to various cultures within the same country and depending on the region. Spain has spectacular and varied scenery. It is a great opportunity to explore a very different part of Europe easily with a new group of friends. And in terms of climate, it is very different from Ireland, and it's even different within the country. And finally, it's affordable. Dublin is generally quite expensive, so except for Madrid or Barcelona, you'll find that in most cases, it will be way more affordable to study in Spain than in Ireland. We'll just go through our Italian options now. So again, there's different options available within the country, but that would depend on what you're studying. If you study politics, you could go to the University of Milano or Bocconi in Italy. If you study Italian, the University of Sacro Cuore in Milan would be an option as well. If you study Italian, you can also go to the University of Cagliari. The University of Padova or Pisa would be an option if you study history. Rome is an option if you study art history and history or philosophy. Economic students can go to the University of Bologna, or you could, for example, study architecture in Venice. So these are just examples. For the full list, you can always go to the UCD Global website that will be updated in the next few weeks, and you'll have an overview of the options available. So why studying Italy? Again, great opportunity to learn and improve the language. So again, the language will not be English. You will really have to immerse. And the exchange partners we have in Italy are amongst the top universities in the country. It is also a safe country with high living standards. It has incredible art and history and has 50 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. It is the country with most sites in the world. It has spectacular and varied scenery regions, so you could go and discover Italy with your new group of friends. And it is also affordable. And apart from perhaps Rome or Milan, the rest of the country is pretty affordable for a student. So if you do not study through a different language and you're interested in hearing more about our English options, we have options throughout the rest of Europe. So today we'll be focusing on options within the Nordic countries, but also a couple of options in the south of Europe. So the great news is that we have plenty of English options in the north of Europe, in Sweden, Finland, Norway, or Denmark. So if you're interested in the Nordic countries, in Denmark, you could opt for Aarhus University if you study history or architecture. In Copenhagen, you can study biochemistry, physics, sociology, or information and communication studies. If you're interested in Sweden, in Stockholm, you can study architecture, geography, politics, or social policy. Göteborg University would be an option for geography students, and Lund for architecture, politics, and humanities. And in Finland, social policy and social work students can go to the University of Lapland, or architecture students can go to the University of Oulu. Another Nordic option would be Norway, where you can study if you study Celtic studies, archaeology, sociology, or architecture, for example. If you're more into looking at English options in Southern Europe, you could study English at the University of Coimbra in Portugal. Another option in the south would be Malta. So if you study social policy or sociology, that is a great option for you. So all of these options are still within Europe, but it is a very different culture. You would have, of course, colder weather in the Nordic countries or milder weather in the south, but please do consider both options. Keep your mind open. The language will also be non-English on the streets. In the Nordic countries, in Malta, you'll get by really easily with English. In Portugal, you will also get by with English, but it's a great opportunity to get fluent in that language. The Nordic countries, and in particular Norway, are great options to explore if you're into nature and outdoor activities. And from Portugal, you could easily go to Spain. From Malta, Italy, or Greece aren't too far off. And in terms of cost of living, the Nordic countries are a bit more expensive. Malta and Portugal will be perhaps more affordable, but it's really up to you to compare the consumer prices, and also it depends on whether you're renting in Dublin or still living at home. So check the prices and inform yourself about the option. In terms of education system, studying abroad is a great opportunity to complement your UCD degree with a semester or a year at one of our partner universities. And it gives you the opportunity to experience a truly different educational system. So when picking a destination, it's important to consider those various aspects. The terminology may differ. So some universities may refer to courses as modules or exams. We may be talking about semester or trimesters or blocks. Module registration will be different. You would also need to consider the academic calendar. Does the academic year start before or after? When are your exams? The class size and format may differ as well. You may have big lectures or more small interactive groups where the participation is required. You will need to check what specific modules do seem to be on offer. The list of courses for 2021-22 is not available yet, but if you check the current course catalog, you should get a good idea of what courses are offered in the different partner universities. And yeah, as mentioned before, you would have different forms of assessment, from just one exam with open questions or multiple choice to big exams at the end of the term, to papers, participation, and assignments. So do inform yourself about the modalities of exam in the different universities. And finally, the expectations from your lecturers and the interaction you may have with them might differ. All this could even really be different within the same university, so it's hard to know, but it's good to take into consideration to try and find out in your research when you try to look for your most suitable destination for exchange. We have some Erasmus destinations on offer that are not specific to your school. We call these Erasmus Open Places. So Erasmus Open Places are agreements with certain universities within Europe where there is more flexibility for courses. So they're not subject specific. The places you can apply to depend on your college or your school. So you'll see here a quick overview. If you're an arts and humanities and social sciences student, you'll have a bit more option than the rest of colleges. And please know that exceptions apply depending on what you're studying, even within arts and humanities and social sciences. So the rest of Erasmus destinations are subject-specific agreements. Our UCD Global website will be updated in the next few weeks, and you can then review the options available for your school or for your subject. Every school has a contact person students can reach out to for queries about exchange, and this is your academic contact within your school. They are a great source of information and inspiration, and they are also the person who approves the modules you will take while you're abroad. So we have their names on the UCD Global website, but they're not currently all up to date, sorry. So for now, hang on to contacting those people, just do your own research and contact coordinators down the line for more detailed questions, or wait for them to reach out to you for a subject-specific information session. So if you've been to our talks and you have some options already lined up and you're wondering what your next steps are, we have a few tips for you here. So the first one would be to research your options. You can check the UCD Global website or your own college website. Our website, as I mentioned, will be updated with the list of options for 21-22 soon. And you can check the exchange duration and the destinations available. Your own college might have even more detailed information. So that's the case, for example, if you're a social science student or a science student, you can check the information there. And then you can also check your university's website, social media. So that's the universities you're interested in. For example, in terms of language, or courses offered through English. If not, can you speak the language well enough to follow lectures, to do assignments, or take exams? In terms of course choice, you would need to make sure that a wide range of courses in your major are offered. Outside of arts and social sciences, for example, you would need to match your UCD courses. Also look into the class formats and the assessment methods and the academic calendar, and just, see what you think. And finally, in terms of location, is the university you're interested in located in a big city? Is it in a small town, in a more rural setting? What are the accommodation options? And note that UCD does not help with finding accommodation when you're on exchange. So that would be up to you to check your options. You can also check the host universities' social media channels, maybe their Facebook and Instagram, because they will give you a good idea of what to expect there too. Something important at this point is for you not to contact a partner university with any questions. If you would like more information about a particular university, please check their website. And if you can't find the specific information, you can contact us and we can help you further or point you into the right direction. So look into the countries and cities. Does it seem like it will be a good fit for you? Or if you're looking for the added challenge, for example, learning a language, will this option provide you with that challenge? Don't focus on one destination, broaden your horizon and get excited about multiple destinations, because in the end, it really doesn't matter where you go, exchange will still be a great experience for you. But it's also good to have your preferred options sorted first. The second tip I would give you would be to calculate your finances. So that would be first to check the cost of living in the university you're considering. Compare the cost of living between Dublin and the other cities. Also take into account that if you're living at home in Dublin, you'll have to pay rent when you're on exchange. And for information, the approximate cost of living for Erasmus exchange is 9,000 euros per year. So that will be half of that if you're going for a semester. And then your tuition fee is paid to UCD and is waived at the partner university. But for example, if you are adding a year to your degree to obtain a BA International, it means that you're paying an extra year of UCD tuition fee. And finally, some good news. Erasmus grant available is the Erasmus grant is available for students going inside Europe. This is a grant contributing towards your living cost, and here we insist it's not meant to cover all your costs when you're on exchange. And so for 2020-21, the grants are between 320 and 350 euros per month. You're automatically eligible when going exchange within Europe. A few exceptions apply if you're receiving a specific scholarship that is not a SUSI grant. If you're receiving a SUSI grant, you can keep that grant when you're going on exchange. And finally, if you're going to Switzerland, you do not get an Erasmus grant, but they have their own grant scheme and you'll receive a grant from Switzerland directly. If you are a student with a disability, who would like to go on exchange, you may be eligible for additional funding to support your exchange, so please do get in touch with us for more information. So now we'll move on to our peer advisors, and I'll just check if they're here.
Yes, so I'll just talk about my experience in general, kind of. So I was in Spain, I was in Ciudad Real. So I don't know if you know Spain, but it was Castilla-La Mancha, so it's pretty much in the center of Spain. And to be honest, I had absolutely never heard of Ciudad Real before ever in my life. I was thinking, oh, where am I going? I don't know, but it's the best place I could have been, the best decision I've ever made to go on Erasmus as well. So even if you haven't heard of some of the places, they can be really, really good. So yeah, I went there. It's about 1 hour from Madrid on the high-speed train, so you could go up north, down south pretty easily. So lots of places to go and visit. The classes were also in Ciudad Real were really adaptable for Erasmus students. So there was no worries in that regard. The coordinator in Spain was really, really helpful. He was Spanish, but his wife was Irish, so he was able to help us a lot, because that can be a bit confusing at times, the registering for classes and everything, but it takes away the stress from that. He was really, really good. There's lots of trips as well. The ESN in Ciudad Real is so important because it is a small city. It's small for Spain, but I don't know if I would say it's really small for Ireland. So yeah, I went to Malaga, Seville, Cadiz, Albacete, and I actually went to Lisbon as well, and that was almost all of them were organized by the ESN. In terms of cost as well, it was really cheap compared to Dublin. I normally rent up in Dublin, so it was a huge difference. My rent was 150 euro a month, so it was really, really good. It was a big change from Dublin. Yeah, so the culture is definitely different there. You have to remember that there's siesta time and the shops close in the middle of the day and you can't do anything. On Sundays as well, everything closes too. So you just have to take into account the cultural aspects there. It's a bit different, but in a good way. So yeah, it's really, in Ciudad Real, it was really hot most of the time, which was really nice as well. It was nice to not be freezing in the winter time. And yeah, definitely, the ESN was a huge thing in Ciudad Real. It was really, really good. And they hosted loads of events all the times. It was so much fun. On another note as well, I did have a lot of fun, but there are some hard times as well. I was a little bit homesick, but it passes. It's all good. You just have to keep on going to all of the events, trying your best. So yeah, it was really good. And I just wanted to say, if anyone ever wants to get in contact with me about going to Ciudad Real, even in particular, I have no problem with you sending me a message or anything, because it was scary, the unknown, you know, but I don't mind helping anyone out. That's it.
Thank you. No, that's great, and I'm sure they'll be delighted to contact you and to get some help during the journey. Aoife, are you here? Hi.
Yeah, so I was in the Università di Bologna in Italy, and I was the same. I'd never been there before. I'd heard of it, but I'd never been there. So it was my first time in that part of Italy. I'd been to Italy before. I was actually there last summer anyways, and I actually went about 2 weeks before I went on Erasmus. I had to fly back to the airport there, so I spent half a day in the city just exploring it, and then I moved there by myself 2 weeks later. But I was the same. I absolutely loved it. It was myself and one other girl from UCD were both there, so I knew one person when I arrived. And within like 2 weeks, everyone knew we were both called Aoife. So everyone knew there was two Aoifes from Ireland, and everyone had to start guessing how to pronounce their name. So soon people started figuring out there's two Aoifes, and it became a game across with all the international students how to pronounce the name. But no, I absolutely loved it. It was so much fun. Trying to make friends was a bit difficult, but it was a lot easier than UCD, because UCD, the classes are massive. But with ESN, with ESN as well, it made it a lot easier because there's so many events going on. And the city is a lot more compact as well. And the university is based in the city centre, which is a lot different than a campus university. So just you'd run into friends in the city coursing from building to building, or we all lived in different parts of the city. So you'd go to meet someone in a cafe and meet someone along the way. So you just actually ended up making a lot more friends than I would have in first year of UCD, which I liked a lot more because I just found it just a lot easier than I did when I was first year. Because that's why I was a lot more nervous about going over, was that I didn't think I'd make friends between language barriers, and I don't know, I wouldn't be the most confident at making friends, I think. But yeah, we found it easy. And then it was also really handy to travel from Bologna, because we didn't know going over what to expect, because it's in this middle of the country, but it ended up being a bus hub, and there's an airport 5 kilometers from the city, so you could, and a train station there, so you could go anywhere. So we were an hour from the beach, near Florence, near Milan. You could go anywhere. The Flixbus was always there, so you could go anywhere. So I went to Switzerland to visit family, friends. Myself and my friends went to Milan for a concert. We went on day trips to all like local towns nearby, which was a lot of fun because we just went exploring and saw a lot of the Italian culture. And it was really weird living in a city that had like no water. There was no river, no lake or anything. And as Irish, that freaked us out. A lot of my friends were from like big cities with rivers and lakes, so we all freaked out with no water. So when we went to Venice, everyone got very excited about the water. We thought it was hilarious, because I think that was a month into living there, and none of us had seen water in a month. But yeah, so no, I loved it a lot. It was a bit of a weird thing to prepare for, because I live at home in Ireland, so living by myself was a new thing, and rent was actually really expensive in Bologna as an Italian city, because it's a very international student city. So the students all drive the rental price up, but other than that, it was cheap enough to live there. So except for the rent, the rest was all cheap enough. So going out, like a whole pizza would be €2, which was really nice. So you can afford to have a social life. But other than that, the only difference was college is a completely different ball game over there. Classes are 3 hours long, which when we went over in September, it was 30 degrees and none of us got used to. We'd be sitting there and they treat it a lot differently. So over there, you're assigned to your exams, not your classes. So the classes will be overbooked and you won't have a seat in your class. So there could be 100 and something in the class and there's only 100 seats. So you're going to have to sit on the floor for 3 hours in 30-degree heat, which took a lot of getting used to. And they would also show up late to your class, so you'd be there for ages waiting. So it wasn't the most organized system, which I did miss by the end of the year. I was waiting to come back to UCD because I missed the organization of it. But other than that, you get used to it all quite quickly. But yeah, no, except for that. And then in exams are stretched out over 2 months. I think we started at the start of December, and then my last friend had their last exam on Valentine's Day. And that was the Christmas exam. So that took a lot of getting used to as well. But I'd still do it again. But I do think I prefer the college system in Ireland, but I like the lifestyle of Italy. But it was a lot of fun. I'd do it all over again, 100%.
Well, it's good that you would do it again, at least.
Yeah, no, it just took a lot of getting used to because it's a very different culture. They take it very relaxed. Even in college, they're very like chilled about it all.
Yeah, I lived in Spain and I found the same. Being from France myself, when I went to Spain, I think one of the most shocking things to me was how people were so relaxed and everything could be done tomorrow, which was quite odd to me. Like you could always leave things for tomorrow.
Yeah, so, it was very strange, especially when like the professors would walk in like 15-20 minutes late and be like, oh, this is when class begins, and we'd all been there since the last class. So you could be in a classroom for 6 hours straight and they'd be like, yeah, just stay there. And then you could be in a class for 3 hours and they won't give you a break. And we just weren't used to that at all because we come from 15-minute lectures and they just expected you to be used to that. So we would we had one class with a British professor who would be kind of trying to stick to our schedule and give us 2 breaks. We were living for his classes because we knew we'd get a break in them. But yeah, no, that was I think one of the hardest adjustments. Everything else you kind of got used to. Like you get used to living around the city and Italian lifestyle that way. But the lectures, 3 hours, was very hard to concentrate for that long.
Thank you. And Joanne, are you here?
Hi.
So I think you went to Italy as well, Joanne.
Yeah, I was in Rome. So I was one of 3 girls. 2 of my other good friends, Sophie and Megan from UCD, they were in Rome with me. One girl went to La Sapienza, and then me and Sophie went to Roma 3. Absolutely loved it. It was literally the best thing I've ever done. I think what really makes it over there is they're quite relaxed. It was kind of the same as IFA with the kind of the classes you're registered for. You're allocated to exams rather than classes. So we had people sitting on the floor and stuff for ages as well. And also, yeah, sometimes the teachers just don't show up. But in terms of sorting out your learning agreement I found very confusing and quite difficult because they didn't give much help when you were registering. Like in UCD, you are given classes that only you can do, whereas when you're registering you get everything that's available throughout all the different departments of the college. So that was quite confusing, but they gave us a coordinator and then you had a meeting with them and they kind of went through things with us, which made things easier. Then outside of college itself, the ESN in Rome is unbelievable. I would definitely 100% recommend, even from the very beginning, going. My first day there, I went by myself and I was like, oh, I don't want to go, because it was really kind of scary. But if you don't go from the very beginning, you're not really going to meet anybody. So I went and they do an event that they have karaoke and stuff, and then they have a buffet and you get a cocktail, all that for €6, which was really, really nice. And then you got to meet people from all over Europe and stuff as well. And they organized trips, and there was just every evening of the week there was a new event on, which was really, really nice. Yeah, definitely I would recommend getting as involved in the ESN as possible. Just for accommodation, I would recommend, especially in Rome, looking for accommodation as soon as you get your confirmation from your university, because it's really, really difficult to find, and you can be kind of left with maybe not such a great apartment. But like Roma Tre provided us with, they provide like assistance on accommodation. So they have like a different sector within the university where you go to them and they give you listings, and then you can see where they are, like how much they are and stuff. That was really, really helpful. But yeah, I would also say, because with the ESN and stuff, you meet a lot of international students, so you tend to speak more English, or I actually spoke a lot of French. But what I would say is, like, try and make Italian friends, because otherwise you're not going to speak any like Italian, or whether you're in Spain or France, wherever you are. Try and make local friends as well, so that you are actually practicing the language you're going there to learn. But yes, I would definitely recommend Rome 100%. It's great to travel to all different parts of Italy in that as well. It was the most amazing thing I've ever done, and if you can afford to do it, I would 100% recommend.
That's great. And yeah, you were speaking about the language. Did you speak any Italian before going to Italy, or did you just?
Not really. I had worked in France before going over, so when I was away for the summer, I didn't really get the chance to speak Italian. But then, like, as soon as you got there, you could kind of, I had friends already in Italy, so I kind of made friends there as well. Just there, I saw a question there.
Yeah.
Most classes are all in Italian, but if they see that you are an Erasmus student, they speak a bit slower for you as well. And there are one or two options to do it through English, but obviously the more you can speak Italian, the better.
Thank you. And Chris, are you here?
Anyway, yeah, I was in Lunds Universitet in Sweden. It's right down the very southwest coast, very near Copenhagen. So you fly into Copenhagen and then you can get the train, which is like 40 minutes to Lund. So it's very handy. Lund itself is a small-ish student town, think kind of Galway. There's a big university and it accounts for about half of the population of the entire town. So first of all, I'll just say it was the best year that I've had in my university life by a long shot. I was originally apprehensive about going for a full year because my course only offered that. I wanted to go for one semester, but I decided to just bite the bullet, never been to Sweden before or anything, and go for it. And by the time Christmas rolled around, I was very happy that I was going back for the second semester. So I'm a politics and international relations student, but Lund, as Manon was saying, is one of the universities that allows you to be very flexible with your course choices. So when I was over there, I did courses in psychology, media studies, history, communications, linguistics, engineering, and economics. So I completely strayed from my course, but it was great, like a great kind of formative experience. One thing I'll say is that the term dates there are very long. I moved over kind of mid to the end of August, started at the start of September, and I had class right up until the 20th of December with no midterm. But because the term dates are so long, the kind of whole class process is a bit more relaxed. I had about 6 hours of class a week in the first semester. And this was actually great, I thought, because it gave me time to actually do stuff that I might not otherwise get done, like readings, for example. So it was, I liked the structure there. Classes are about 2 hours and obviously taught through English. You don't need to learn Swedish, obviously. When I went over, I took part in an optional Swedish course for 3 credits just for 2 weeks at the very start, which I would advise people to do because it's good to get a little bit of the language, so you can use it in shops and cafes and stuff. Although everyone has perfect English, it's kind of incredible. The one negative I found was housing. In the first semester, I was living in various Airbnbs, and I know some other people had difficulties as well because it's a small town with such a big university. Housing is a little hard to come by at times. So you'd want to be on the ball with that. The university offers some housing. I just got unlucky. So I found an apartment for the second semester, but first semester I was kind of living around a bit. Aside from that, it's all pretty great. Sweden has a bit of a reputation for being very expensive, but it's not as bad as I thought it would be. The things are more or less the same as Dublin. Going out for drinks in a bar is really expensive. Like for an average pint, you might be paying €7 or €8, 70 or 80 krona over there. But housing prices, despite the fact that houses are hard to come by, are a lot cheaper. So some of the student blocks are as little as €250 a month. Obviously, the nicer ones are more than that. But I was paying in second semester about €400 a month for a lovely studio apartment right in the center of town. And Lund is so small as well that a 10-minute cycle is considered a long distance to travel. So the cycling is absolutely the way to get around the town. Sweden is really well set out in terms of cycle infrastructure. So you need to get yourself a bike if you go over there as soon as possible. And weather-wise, I expected it to be colder in the winter, but it's near the coast and it's very southerly. So it's not that bad at all. I mean, coming from Ireland, it wasn't too different. In the height of the winter, it would get dark at about 3:30 maybe, which is kind of grim. But no snow fell for the whole winter when we were down there. It was cold, but mostly just rainy. And then it's summer heading into autumn, and then spring heading into summer was absolutely gorgeous. It was so sunny all the time. One more thing I'll say again is on ESN. Became a very big part of my student life over there. I actually joined ESN to volunteer for them. I was their trip ambassador, which meant that I had to organize trips and events away for ESN, and obviously then I got to go on them for free as a group leader. So stuff like canoeing and hikes and all that sort of good stuff.
Thank you. And finally, we have Laura.
Hi.
Hi, Laura.
So I'm Laura, and I study English and history here in UCD, and I went to Coimbra in Portugal. It was an amazing experience. I have little to no Portuguese, like it still hasn't improved a whole lot. It's pretty basic level. And I had very little going over, like Duolingo basics level going over to Portugal when I went. It was not my first choice. I had kind of chosen to go to like Netherlands or Germany. And I had like Portugal down on like fourth or something, maybe third or fourth on my list. But I think everything works out for a reason. It was a great time and I had an amazing time. So that's one thing I'd say to everyone. Don't get like too stuck on like whether you get the first or second choice. Sometimes when it's a little bit further down the list, maybe it's just meant to be and you could still have an amazing time. So when I went over there, yeah, it was a bit lonely. I mean, I was the only Irish person where I was. But I went to a private student housing, so a place called Studentville, and it's kind of expensive. Like I suppose it was the most expensive place in Coimbra, because it was the private thing, but it was only like €400 a month. So I mean, in comparison to, let's say, Irish prices, it's still pretty good. And yeah, that was really handy as well for trying to get to know new people, because there was like 70 other people in that accommodation that I was living with. So I'd go down to the kitchen and I'd be talking away to people. And I don't know what it'd be like now with COVID, but I'd imagine it's still pretty good because you'd have your own bathroom and everything. So if you're kind of a bit paranoid about that kind of stuff, I feel like it's a good option. But if you wanted to live in housing, it was pretty good. I know a lot of people got it online before they went, and some people even went over and lived in Airbnbs and stuff and still managed to get places. It was pretty chill about the accommodation. I didn't know anyone really who was still going around in Airbnbs or who was still in anything there. And what else?
What did you think of the classes, of the teaching system there? Was it very different from UCD or?
The teaching, it was, well, I'm used to like 300 people in a lecture, and it was like 40 people in a 2-hour lecture, and we had the lectures 2 times a week. You could also do master's classes, because like me doing English and stuff, I could go into an English master's. which was really good. It was a really good experience to kind of see what it's like to be in a master's class. And there's a bit more presentations and stuff, which I think is good when you're going into final year, because I'm having a few more presentations now this year, so it's good experience. And get involved in the ESN, like everyone said as well, like that is such a good place to go for trips and to get to know people as well. The classes are important, guys, but you're there for a bit of like fun and culture as well, you know. And I hope you make the most of that. And I feel like I had so much more to say and I'm gone blank now, but
don't worry. I think we've gotten plenty anyway from the others.
If anyone has any questions about it, they're more than welcome to contact me. So
that's great. Thank you, Laura. Yeah, so I think key takeaways from our student advisors: get involved in ESN, and even if it's not your first choice, don't be disappointed because you could still have the time of your life. I think that's the message here. Perfect. So I'll just quickly go through the rest of the slides I have here for you. Sorry. So just in terms of timeline, what will happen is next few months. So in October, we'll still have a few information talks, and it's the time for you to gather information. In November, Lisa Kehoe, who looks after exchanges outside of Europe, will have office hours, and so will I. So if you have any questions, this is the time to book some time with us and to go through your options. And we'll have a virtual exchange fair on the 4th of November. Our application system will open mid-November. So I think it's going to be November 17th, but we'll confirm the date with you and you'll all get an email when that's open. And the deadline will be the 22nd of January, 2021. Our selection will be rolling until by the 15th of March. You'll know where you're going. And if you didn't get a place, we'll let you know. And finally, we'll have free departure sessions between February and April. We will start with sessions for the students that are going outside of Europe, and then for people going inside of Europe. These are our contact details. If you have any questions about going on exchange or any of the options within Europe, you can contact me at outgoing.erasmus@ucd.ie, and you can contact Lisa Kehoe there. And if you're an agriculture student, a business student, a law student, or a DN 700 student, so that's social sciences, you have specific contacts you can reach out to. Thank you again to Laura, Chris, Joanne, Aoife, and Niamh for all their help today. And please do attend the rest of our sessions this month, especially next week, because we'll have a special session about standard options. So these are exchange options you may not have considered. And then we'll have a very important session about application for exchange and budgeting. So please do attend. Thank you very much.